In state fiscal year 2022, there were over 1,100 children in Pulaski and Perry counties. And we were only able to have CASA advocates on a little under 250. The majority of the kids we see that enter foster care, drug abuse is a component of why they're there. The parents might have a substance abuse issue, which has caused them to be neglectful of their child in some way. So we see that in the majority of our cases, and it's just been such an epidemic that our nation's been dealing with for a while now, and we certainly see it in our area. COVID added many different risk factors for families. You really don't know how essential a CASA is until you compare what a case with a CASA and what a case without a CASA looks like.
I entered foster care when I was 4 years old, and I've been in foster care for 17 years, so I got out of foster care when I was 21. My mom was on drugs, she did cocaine, and she was heavy on it. And also my mom was very abusive towards my siblings. She would beat us, she would, she busted my head before, and which is why I got like this scar right here. And it caused like a lot of trauma and a lot of chaos within my household. And so my mom and my dad would fight all the time and get into it and get into certain altercations and stuff like that. And my mom would leave us at home by herself without food and stuff like that. And we'll go days and days without food. You feel like, nobody understands, nobody cares, because, the foster parents or the caseworkers are just, put you in this one room or one place and expect you to just be a good girl, be a good kid. And it's like, I done deal with all of this stuff in my past. What do you expect me to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm lonely. I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to listen to me. I know when I didn't have a CASA, I feel like, people that was on my caseload wasn't really advocating for me and sticking up for me in times that I needed them to.
I was angry the first few months in care. I was very resentful. I was very mean to my caseworkers. I was very mean to the transporters. I was awful to the workers at the group home. I was a very smart mouth, and I was a fighter, so I got in a lot of fights. Mainly I instigated them. Home to me was my mom. I had spent most of my childhood without her, and then I finally had her, and I know we had a strained relationship, but it was just my mom. You just have a bond with your parents, and it's like, no matter how bad things get, whether they're a drug addict or an alcoholic, that's who you're with, that's who you've grown attached to, that's who you love. Even if you're not having that love reciprocated, that's the person that you have poured out into. And with my mom, I always had her back, and I knew that she was doing things that were wrong, but I always told her, I'll support you because you're my mom. I've always told her that. I don't care what you're doing, who you're with, I love you. So home for me, even though we didn't eat very much, even though we didn't have running water or electricity, it was my mom that I craved. I didn't know anyone. I didn't trust any of these people, because trust was something that was not given, it was earned. And we had a lot of trust issues growing up, both me and my mom. My mom always taught me, you don't trust people, people are what hurt you. And time had shown time and time again that that's exactly what people do. They hurt you. They come, they go, they die, they lie, they disappoint, they cheat, they steal. So people were just disappointments to me. So coming into care, not knowing any of these people, I looked at all the people running these group homes. This is just a check for y'all. Y'all do not care about me. Y'all do not care if I have eaten. Y'all do not care where I come from. Y'all just care about the check that's going to be coming in the mail. And it was the same way for the caseworkers for me. This is just a job for you. And that's exactly what my mindset was. And I was angry that they had taken me away from my mom.
I didn't get a voice. I didn't get to say what I wanted or what I didn't want. Nobody asked me what I was going through at group homes or in my foster homes, or how school was, or if I was even doing okay. Foster care is like a roller coaster. You have good days and bad days, and sometimes it's beneficial and sometimes it takes a toll.
I bounced around a little. I wasn't in a lot of foster homes. I could say I was in about 3 foster homes and 1 group home, so a total of 4. Yeah, I was young, 13 or 14, when I was living at foster homes, like with a parent. And when I moved to Simone's home, there was actually a group home for girls, and I was 15, finna turn 16 there. And I stayed there until I was 19.
Well, I decided to become a part of the CASA program because I've been working with youth and young adults programs since the age of 17. And being an underprivileged and underserved youth myself, growing up in a housing project where nothing good was supposed to come out of that housing project. It was the largest housing project in the city of Little Rock at the time, and had people who stepped up and was to be there for me. And so I wanted to be in a role where I was in a position to be able to give back.
CASAs are essential because they have the time. You sometimes have a foster parent that just needs to talk for an hour, and I have the time. Most CASAs have the time to give that foster parent an hour. Sometimes you have to talk to the bio mom for longer than that and just encourage. So giving that time that they may not be able to get from anyone else is really important. Time for the child, time to go to their basketball games, to go to their speeches, and just honoring them with your time, being at things that are special for that child.
I love children, and you just can't get involved with a child in need without being touched and moved to help. And as Raven said, when she had a need, I felt it brought out the lioness in me. I would never say it was easy. I would never say it was easy because it's heartbreaking at times. And I would go home and I would cry, and I would get so angry, and I'd allow myself a 24-hour anger party, pity party, whatever you want to call it, and then I'd come out fighting. Does the good outweigh the bad? All the time. It's not easy sometimes, but it's worth it.
CASA is a constant for a child, and sometimes the only same person they have from the beginning to the end of a case. In terms of family members or the parents or DHS, it's really the same thing, because CASA is able to acquire information that could be useful to all the parties, because at the end of the day, depending on the goal of the case, let's say it's reunification, everybody's working toward that goal, and if CASA has information that nobody else has been able to dig up, it could be really useful in moving the case forward.
CASA, their input helps the court ensure that it has quality information. The CASA often has one case, and so they have the time to dedicate to that one case to really check and see if the department is doing what they're supposed to do, if parents are doing what they're supposed to do, and what resources that the kids and the family needs as a whole to achieve permanency.
So when I received a CASA worker, I feel like I had a team player, someone that was willing to be there for me and support me through the trials and tribulations of actually being in DHS. Working with my CASA was really a blessing because I have somebody that I can talk to. If I, have any trauma or I'm feeling depressed or something like that, I can count on Ms. Grooms to give me advice, motherly advice, not just something that I'll just, want to hear, stuff that's sometimes criticism, but it's to help me become a better me and help me grow into adulthood. And so I think, with Ms. Groom being there, it was a tremendous blessing. And I just thank God that I made the choice to open up and letting somebody in to, help me. She be showing me tough love, and I need that. So, and I appreciate that. So,
You trust her?
Yeah, I trust her 100%. She ain't never gave me a reason not to trust her.
Once I got a CASA, she would come and visit me. She kept up with how I was doing in school, how I was doing at home. She kept up with all of that. I had a chance to get what I needed, whether it was counseling or whether it was clothes at home, or if I needed extra help at school with a tutor, there was somebody to pay attention to that and notice it. My CASA was the most important person throughout my stay in care.
Miss Terry has completely changed my story. I have a lot of anxieties. I have a lot of worries about things that may not ever happen. And Miss Terry got me a bracelet. And it was a cute little just tie-on bracelet, and it said 1 day at a time. And she got that for me, and she told me, I want you to wear this, and remember, you take 1 step at a time, 1 day at a time. Miss Terry has been with me since before care, and since she came into my life after care, she has never left my side. If she says she's gonna do something, she has done it. She has shown me time and time again that you can trust people, that not all people are untrustworthy, and she has shown me that there is stability in life and that you can create that. And she has motivated me in ways that no one else has. She has motivated me to do good in school. She has pushed me to limits that I didn't even know that I had. She has pushed me to exceed the limits that I set because she knew that that was not my limit.
When I met Miss K, she's like, I'm your voice. I speak for you. So if I want to tell her something, I'll tell Miss K and she'll tell them.
What happens for the child that doesn't have anybody speaking up for them? What happens to the one that doesn't have a CASA? What happens to the 750 kids that didn't have a CASA to speak for them? The stark reality is there are not enough CASAs to serve every child in foster care, but there could be if you chose to become a CASA.
You should be a CASA. If you ever have watched the news or you read a social media article and you just wondered what is really going on with these foster care cases, how can that somebody should do something, you should step up and be that change that you want to see in your community. I wish every kid had a CASA.
CASA is one of the places that I tell people to consider, especially if they have any interest in children, because it's heart work. It can be hard work, but it's really heart work. If we could put a CASA on every case, I would put a CASA on every case.
Come on in and come be someone who matters to someone who matters. You can make a difference.
I would say to the CASA workers, like, we need you. The kids in DHS, they need you. And your support, your love, your patience.
Every child deserves someone to show them that they are their focus and that they're willing to fight for them.